Hello everyone, this is Satyaprakash. Welcome to my channel. This is part 29 of ASP.NET Web API. In this video, I'll discuss how to use JSONP to overcome browser cross-domain restriction, or I'll show you how to consume ASP.NET Web API in cross-domain Ajax request using JSONP. So JSONP is JSON with padding. So before going through this part 29, please visit my part 20, that is how to consume ASP.NET Web API using jQuery. So guys, in this video we'll discuss few points: what is JSONP and steps to make ASP.NET Web API to return JSONP formatted data and consume it from a cross-domain Ajax request, and testing the ASP.NET Web API service using Postman after implementation of JSONP. And guys, I'll show you that is what is same origin policy, that the why we need JSONP for cross-domain Ajax request in browser. So browsers allow a web page to make a Ajax request only within the same domain. Browser security prevents a web page from making Ajax request to another domain. This is called same origin policy. And there is few scenarios. There is two URLs of same origin. It is same origin, nothing but you can see a local port number is same. That is for first URL is for web API, second URL is for application. So the API port number is 2345 and the HTML port number is 2345. So this is called same origin. And second one is the following two URLs having different origin because they have different port number. So API URL have port number 2345 and employee HTML port number is 5678. And third is the two URLs have different origin because they have different domains. So different domains is nothing but API has the domain is .com and the UI has the domain is .net. Okay, so that comes under the different origins. And the last one is there is two URLs have different origins because they have different schemes. So different schemes is nothing but HTTPS. You can see for API the scheme is HTTPS, and for application it is HTTP. So that comes under different origins and that comes under same origin. Alright, so I will show you how to consume our ASP.NET Web API in different origins, which will satisfy these 2, 3 and 4 conditions with JSONP. And this first one, you can if the both API and the HTML file will be in same server or same port number, then no need to configure JSONP. But you have one server contains your API, another server contains your UI or application, then in that scenario we'll use the JSONP, which will satisfy this conditions, that is for different port number, different domains and different schemes. Alright guys, so guys, you remember in my part 20 of ASP.NET Web API, I have configured in web.config to access the API ASP.NET Web API or consume ASP.NET Web API in cross-domain Ajax request. So what I have done is in web.config I have added this HTTP protocol section with custom headers, right? So I have added this line of code. Okay, and in global.asx.cs file I have added one event, that is application underscore begin request, and this is the code I have added in global.asx.cs file. So I already have discussed this concept of these two files and this codes in my previous video, that is on in part 20 of ASP.NET Web API. Please go through that. But in this part 29 I have commented in global.asx.cs file, and also I commented this section in web.config file. So I will implement the JSONP, which will satisfy our condition of using ASP.NET Web API in cross-domain Ajax request using JSON with padding. Alright, so what I'll do here is this is my ASP.NET Web API, that is Web API coding, right? And I have run my application and this is the output, this is the response I'm getting. Alright, for ASP.NET Web API, and I have opened one more instance of Visual Studio I have added these two files, emp.html and employees.html. So in this 2 HTML, I have consumed the ASP.NET Web API, or called the ASP.NET Web API. Alright, so I'll in part 20, I already have shown you in employees.html how to consume ASP.NET Web API. Alright, but in this video I have created one more file, that is emp.html. Alright, so here I have used the that script type JavaScript. One is CDN, right? You can see this is CDN URL for the JavaScript support, and in the document ready function I have declared one variable, and this is contains the ID of unordered list. And in button click event I have used the Ajax functionality, and the type is get. URL I have mentioned my ASP.NET Web API URL, that is nothing but this one. Alright, and this is the data type I have mentioned here, only JSON. And here I have mentioned few conditions, that if the data is not empty, it will not show anything, and if you click on it, then the function will be fired, and there is one full name variable is declared, and it contains two values. One is first name and this last name. It will concatenate, and it will show in the full name variable, which is nothing but, if the first name is, you can see ASP.Web API ram1, and last name is pradhan1, and full name it will show ram1 pradhan1. Alright, and it will append to the list in full name, and you can see button clear, it will clear the data. And in body I have used the button event, button ID. One is button is for load employee, and button reset is ID is button clear, and this is the unordered list for ID is UL employees. Alright, this is all about the code of emp.html. And for employees.html, I already have discussed this code in my part 20 of ASP.NET Web API, so no need to discuss again. Okay, so you can you just notice one thing, guys. Here functionality is the same, that is for employee.html. Type is get, URL is same, that's ASP.NET Web API, and the port number is 49773, right? And content type is this one, and data type is JSON. And if you check in emp.html, the same functionality in Ajax button click, I have used the type get, URL is same, that is ASP.NET Web API, data type is JSON. Alright, so this is we have created the employee.html. So you notice one more thing, this is API in another server, right, in the another Visual Studio instance or another server, and you can check the port number is 49773, and our HTML project or ASP.NET project is in different instance of Visual Studio that contains different different server, right? So we need to run it. So before that I'll show you I need to run this application first. So here I just build my solution. So build succeeded, I need to run my application here. So I need to map to first emp.html. So guys, you can see there is two button, load employees and reset. If you click on load employee, and you can see there is no data, right? And it will come to here in my code, that employee controller.cs file of ASP.NET Web API. It shows a callback parameter was not provided in the request URI. Alright, and I need to click on continue, and I'll go here and click on inspect element to see what the issue in the console. And you can see there is one console tab in browser. If you click here, you'll get the details of that issue, that access to XML HTTP request. This is the API URL from origin. This is the our that is, you can see project, that is our application URL has been blocked by CORS policy. No access control allow origin header is present on the request resource. All right, and we'll check one more application that is run on same port number, right? That is employees.html. So you can see there is no data is there. We are getting some error warning. So we'll check here inspect of this HTML as well. So click on, I have clicked on inspect element, and I will go here to click on console to check the issues here. So I'm getting same issues as well, that no access control allow origin is present on the requested resource. All right, so what I'll do for these issues? So so this proves that the browser does not allow cross domain Ajax request. So there are two ways to get around this problem. One is using JSONP, that is JSON with padding. Another one is enabling CORS. CORS is nothing but cross origin resource sharing. So in this video, I'll use the JSONP to overcome the browser cross domain restriction, and in my next video, I'll show you how to enabling CORS or cross origin resource sharing. Alright, so I have maintained one document, that is what is JSONP. The JSONP stands for JSON with padding. So all JSONP does is wraps the data in a function. So if you got the JSON object, there is first name, last name, and gender. So JSONP will wrap the data in a function as shown here. So callback function is a function. Inside we have getting the JSON objects. All right, and guys, here browser allow consume JavaScript that is present in different domain but not data. Since the data is wrapped in JavaScript function, this can be consumed by a web page that is present in different domain. All right, and how to implement or steps to make ASP.NET Web API service to return JSONP formatted data. So there is 3 steps only. So step 1 is to support JSONP format. We need to execute the command using NuGet package manager console, which installs web API contrib.formatting.jsonp package. So this is the command we need to run. So I copy this command. I'll go to my ASP.NET Web API application, select the Web API coding. All right, go to tools and select here NuGet package manager. Click on package manager console, and you can see on the package manager console you'll see one pm / this one, and we just copy that code and paste here. All right, and click enter. Once you click enter, it will download and install your packages to your web project. All right, so I already have installed that a package, so no need to install again. All right, so how to check whether it is installed or not? So make sure your internet connection should be active when you install your packages from NuGet package manager console. So after install of this package, that is the web API contrib.formatting.jsonp package, we will click expand these references, and you can see, just scroll down, you can see one DLL file is present, that is web API contrib.formatting.jsonp. That means the package is installed successfully for our ASP.NET Web API application. And we just so we'll check, that is next step is step number 2 is include the following 2 lines of code in register method of web API config class in web API config.cs file in app_start folder. So if I'll go here API, that is API application, we just select here, we need to close this existing files which is not required. So we just open this web API config.cs, and I have for adding these 2 lines of code which we need to register, right? So for that I need to add the namespace, that is using web API formatting.jsonp, and I have added this two line of code in the register method of web API config static class. Alright, so this two line of code is this one. So declare the variable that is JSONP formatter and JSONP media type formatter. It is the class or reference which is present in namespace, and using the config object of HTTP configuration we can access the formatter and JSON formatter, and we need to insert the values in first of index, that is config.formatter.insert. So insert an element to specified collections. So I need to mention here the first index, that is 0 index position, and I need to pass this variable here, right? So this only two line of code I have mentioned in web API config.cs to support the JSONP in our application. Alright, and step number 3 is in client application we need to set the data type option of jQuery Ajax function to JSONP. So here data type colon JSONP. So we need to go our client application. One is HTTP emp.html. So here data type was JSON, so I need to replace with JSONP. So I just copy here and go to our client application of emp.html. I just paste here, that is JSONP. Alright, and save these changes and go to employees.html and also replace the JSON with JSONP. So that's all about 3 steps we need. This is required to configure JSONP in that is API application as well as in client application. Alright, this all 3 steps is required to support JSONP to make ASP.NET Web API service return JSONP formatted data. Alright guys, after doing these changes, make sure you have saved these changes and of both the files. Alright, so I'll go to my API application I need to run. So I'm getting the response here from API, and I'll go to my client application. One is emp.html, another one is employees.html. I need to refresh it first, emp.html. So I'll check here whether the data is loading or not. Click on load employees, so I can see all the employees here, right? I'm getting the response from the API as well. So if you click on reset, it will clear the screen. If you click on load employee, you can see the data which is from the API. So same way we need to refresh it, employees.html client application. So I'm getting the response from API as well. Alright, that means we are able to make ASP.NET Web API in cross-domain Ajax request using JSONP. Okay guys, so that's all about, that is how to consume ASP.NET Web API in cross-domain Ajax request using JSONP. And next one is we need to test the ASP.NET Web API service using Postman after configuring the JSONP or JSON with padding. So I copy this my API URL. Alright, I go to my Postman. Alright, so this is the Postman, and in get request I copy this. Alright, and once you copy this, we need to go to headers, and in headers I have added on key parts I have used the accept, and in value part I have added the that is application/JSON. So once you configure in header section, we need to click on send request. So guys, here you can see I am getting the JSON response right from the request. Alright, you can see I am getting the 200 status okay. So this is all about my response in Postman after configuring JSONP. And the other scenario is if you want JSONP formatted data back, and we need to use the you need to specify a name for the callback function in the URI. Alright, so here what I'll do is I need to mention here callback equal to XYZ. So this is not called the parameter callback. You can see the key name is callback and the value is XYZ. That means it will stop. I need to want the JSONP formatted data back. Alright, and I have mentioned the name for callback function in the URI. So callback function is xyz, all right, and I have set it as xyz as well. So this is the callback function, and I need to click here send. So you can see there is different responses is coming, right? And you can see that automatically it will convert from JSON to text when we execute that URL or click on send request. The response from this drop down change from JSON to and only text here. If you click again and send, I'm getting this response, this callback, right? So you can see this xyz which will wrap the JSON object here, right? So that is the all about how to get the JSON formatted data after configuring JSONP, and how to get the JSONP formatted data using the callback function in the URI. All right, that is the difference. So I'll go to my presentation here. So guys, please subscribe and share it to update knowledge on .NET Core, C#, SQL Server, Angular, Web API, GitHub, DevOps, and Azure. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.